following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin' Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff. Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
Here are Mickey Spagnola, Brian Broaddus, Rob Phillips, and Bill Jones.
And it is April 2nd, 2019, 23 days and counting until the Cowboys don't have a draft pick on the first day of the 2019 NFL Draft on April 25th. So it's 24 days and counting until the Cowboys do have a draft pick, unless there's a trade. Welcome to Talking Cowboys. I'm starting to get fired up for this draft now. You got fired up, Brian, about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, I'm ready to draft right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm just now getting into it. I'm just now starting to fill up my big green NFL draft scouting notebook.
There it is. Yeah.
Mickey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm not fired up yet.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm just not.
This is the week to get
Not
fired
having a
up.
first-round draft pick do that?
This is the right week.
That's right. So tell us, Rob, what's going on this week?
Well, this is top 30 visits week, right? Mm-hmm. Dallas Day on Friday, where they bring in local prospects. So, and names always start to filter out.
It's a huge advantage they have over other teams around the league.
For sure, because sometimes there's top guys
Miami,
that are
Dallas.
Sometimes there's top guys
Rams.
from the area that you don't have to spend a 30 visit on.
Yeah.
You know, that technically they qualify to just come in on Friday.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good way to do it.
Yep. And it's worked in the past as well.
Yeah, they always seem to, these 30 visits seem to allow them to the opportunity to get to know these guys a little bit better. You've had this whole year now of a football season. You've had a Senior Bowl. You've had a combine. You've had now the 30 visits, and then you go put this board together. But the 30, I just always felt like, though, they pay really close attention to those 30 visits. It might be 1 or 2 names. It might be 3 names. But pay attention. There's a reason why that they bring these kids in, because they want to get to know them a little bit better. Maybe you want to have Steven and Jerry have an opportunity to visit with them a little closer. They don't maybe get to do that at the combine as much. So, yeah, I think this is it's one of those times. I enjoy this because I enjoyed this time of the 30 visits because I always wanted to get – you kind of see what kind of kids these are. I mean, the personalities and stuff, outgoing, well-spoken, quiet, shy. What do you have to do to maybe, and it helps you when you start comparing them to other kids on that board. You're saying, hey, we brought this kid in. We feel good about him. What about the grades? Grades are equal, playing ability equal, medical equal. What can maybe shift it one way or another? And, again, a guy like Deebo Samuel coming in here, wide receiver, I mean, he's talked about, he's actually on social media. He's put out, he's been in the locker room and stuff, so no surprise there. But, Mickey's guy, hey, you get to know a little bit more about him, and I think that's a good thing.
And getting to know a little bit more about these players, I think that is why the interest in the draft has skyrocketed the last 15 years, ever since YouTube became a player in our society, because people like me, people like fans out there, we can now go on YouTube and go online and find out as much as you can via that about these players. Sure. And whether watching tape of them or interviews with them. And the interviews is stuff that I look at. And I remember guys in the past that are top 10 picks by other teams. And then I see them interviewed and I was like, how in the world do you make that guy a top 10 pick?
Yeah.
And that's what got me interested and why I started really studying it was because I think you can learn a lot about a player with those interviews.
I still think it's the best way to help your team, the draft.
The draft
is. And I think that's why people take such an interest because they love their team and they're thinking, okay, what's the best avenue? If we're not going to spend millions of dollars on free agent players, what's the next best way of doing that? And so you want to learn about these guys so when they do get selected on your team that you have an understanding of, okay, this is the type of player that I'm getting. I think that's why a lot of guys and gals have made a living now because of the NFL draft itself. Year-round job. Really is.
Dane Brugler's made a nice career out of it. Guys like that. It's you're right. It's so important. It's the best way to do business because
it's a cottage industry.
It is a cottage industry, but you get you get 4 to 5 years of control on a relatively friendly contract for a young guy that can help your team out. And like Brian said, combine, you get 15 minutes with these guys.
Right.
It's kind of speed dating, basically. This is more of an in-depth process, and like you said, it can help weed out maybe close decisions between guys based on maybe football character, that kind of thing.
When you put your stack together, and you just have that little bit more of a little bit more connection with the player. I think that's something. Now, again, they've had a couple of players they did not bring in on 30 visits. I remember we didn't bring in DeMarcus Ware, and they didn't bring in Mo Claiborne.
That's right.
And those were two guys that had been drafted that were not part of your 30-visit program.
I do remember at Valley Ranch they did bring Sean Merriman in for a visit.
It's Bill Parcells.
Was that a head fake?
I don't know if it was a head fake. That was a head coach. Coach was on that one.
No, in retrospect, looking back at it, I mean, DeMarcus Ware, he's about as clean a guy as you could possibly have walk through those doors.
I'm going to tell you something, and you've heard me tell the story before, though. It came down to the final hours on that one. That was, and I give Rick Goslin a lot of credit for what he was able to do. He was able to get to Jerry Jones and all the things you talk about with Ware and Merriman that Rick had gotten from other teams. Rick had done. You talk about a guy that had learned about the draft, and he was talking to people, and the list of the things, the good and the bads, on both players were clearly in the favor of Ware. And the type
That's
of
why
person
I don't think they needed to bring him in, because they knew what they knew about him. And
If we were
Merriman's personality, he's more reserved. Although DeMarcus is not really that outgoing as far as it. But when you get to talk to him, you can see where his heart is.
We had a discussion about whether it was Spears or Ware at that time.
That's right.
And that shows you how much we didn't know at the time. So,
small school guy at the time, right?
Well, but it's about having a feel for the player, and we, honestly, it went down to the night before the draft. Usually you have an idea of which direction you're going, and we didn't have an idea until we came in the draft room that morning which way. And so, again, that's sometimes the 30 visits help you. Maybe it takes you another direction.
But comparing Ware and Spears, aside from the different positions that they played, Spears was the more accomplished player coming in.
He was,
but Ware had the upside. I mean,
he
was a late bloomer.
If you talk to people around the league, I was trying to get a gauge of what direction. It was a heavy offensive draft, and a lot of guys were saying if they were going to go up for a player, the player they were going up for was Ware. Mm-hmm. He was the one that everybody, if you're going for a defensive player, Ware was the guy that, everybody was like, there weren't other guys. I mean, it was kind of split a little bit on Merriman and Ware, but a lot of guys I talked to that before the draft said, hey, if we're going for a defensive player, we're going for Ware. That's the guy.
If you had gone to the Senior Bowl and seen Ware performance,
pretty good.
You wouldn't have had no qualms about taking them where they did.
That's fine, but there was some projection there. I mean, the guy came from a small school. He wasn't a stand-up linebacker in college, so you had to make some projections on what he was going to be.
He did both at the Senior Bowl. They had him stand up as a linebacker, and they had him put his hand on the ground as a defensive end. And if you saw him go sideline to sideline, chasing guys down, DeMarcus Ware.
Well, and then
that would have been Bill Parcells' mistake because he wanted Spears.
He was, but he was more on Merriman though too. That was a fight. Both players had the same grade, and that's where the fight came down to, was that the scouts were more interested in Ware, and led by Tom Siskowski. That group they were on Ware, and then Bill was more interested in Merriman. But it's the exact same two grades on the players. But that just shows you, though, this thing could go up all the way. And the fact they don't have a first-round pick, now you're a little bit at mercy of the board. And you really have to protect yourself, because you have to throw a wide net. And then it's like, okay, well, who's going to be there when we pick at 58? Or do we need to go up? There's a couple of players in my mind, that they're talking about bringing in here that, the safety from Washington. I think that, Taylor Rapp, I think that's a guy, him and Abram, those are two guys I think you're going to have to go up.
I heard Abram interviewed the other day.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with him.
And that's a good point, Brian, because we talked to Jason Garrett at the Combine about how your evaluation process, you still got to be pretty pure with it, even though you don't have a first round pick.
Right.
The question was, could that affect your visits? Because what are the realistic odds of getting a guy that's going to be higher rated? But maybe they still take a look at guys that might be drafted higher, just because you never know what could prop up. Possibility of moving up. So,
or guys falling unexpectedly because of either physical or something off the field. You never know.
Or a slow time.
Taylor Rapp, speaking of slow times.
Slower time.
Taylor Rapp, 4.75. You're not concerned as a scout.
No, not at all. This to me, and someone asked me that on Twitter this morning. I said, if somebody asked you, where does he fall now? He runs a 4.74, 4.75, the numbers I heard. I said, I hope he's there at 258, because then hand that card in. This is a player, you watch him play. Again, there's several players in this draft that I feel like that and Holyfield, the running back, is another guy. There's guys that don't have great 40 times, but you watch them play and they're lights out, and and they're playing in big conferences. I'm not asking you to draft a 4.74 safety from Alderson Broadus College. I'm asking you to draft a safety from Washington that you watch big-time Pac-12 tape. You watch him open the season against Auburn. You watch him play in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. That's kind of what I'm basing this on.
I'm not interested in the 4.75. What I'm interested in is the numbers 399 and 682. His shuttle was a 399 at the combine, and his cone drill was a 682. That's all I needed to see.
That's all you need to know.
That's rare.
That's right.
That's lateral agility.
I don't care that he runs a 4.75 40, and when somebody's running down the field, he can't catch him when he's already going to score.
You would love to have him. You would love to have him, and he could very well come in and do some of the stuff that maybe you're asking George Aloka to do: play down, tackle, get to the play, finish the play.
So, again, they fill the spot in free agency, but it doesn't matter, right?
No.
Because I look at their roster and I say, other than defensive tackle, that still might be a spot where, okay, you really need to address that potentially. But you don't necessarily have to do it at 58. Take the best guy.
Bet you they do.
Well, they could. They very well could. But I'm just saying it's. I don't know if that's. They could still go best available at a position that they've technically filled in free agency. You just mentioned Debo or a wide receiver. They could go there. I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job of covering their needs in free agency. But D tackle still stands out the most.
Well, what about the safety?
What about him?
Which safety?
Well, what you were just talking about.
I just said safety, wide receiver, whatever.
Oh, but you said defensive tackle,
I did.
right?
I said defensive tackle.
No, I mean, I said that's probably the last need that you look at and say, I don't know if they've got what they want.
I think they're hunting defensive linemen, not defensive ends. I think they're hunting defensive tackles now. I had them in their magazine that's coming out hopefully this week. I think
this magazine right
here.
This one here?
Bill Jones is showing
pretty thin.
Yeah, Bill Jones showing
That's a piece
That
of
is
paper.
pretty thin, yes. Ha-ha.
You want to show the magazine?
Yeah.
Bill? Yeah, there you go, right there.
Right there.
Go get your copy.
There you
Yeah, I got a copy. We'll look at the information out about that. That should be coming out this week. But yeah, in the magazine, I picked the gentleman on the cover there from Boston College, Zach Allen.
I'm sorry, I can't get past the gentleman on the cover that says Sooners on the front.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the biggest pictures?
Who are you?
Yeah.
He's taller than everybody on the cover.
How does that happen?
We did that on purpose. Yeah, make him look bigger than everybody else.
Okay, so the gentleman on the cover from Boston College.
Far left, number 2.
Far
right
left,
there.
number 2
Yeah,
right here.
Zach Allen.
That would be Zach Allen.
Yeah, that's kind of who I thought that maybe if they were looking at defensive end, that Zach Allen. I'd ask a question. Greg Gabriel, who is a former player personnel director for the Bears, is on Twitter now. By the way, a really good follow if you like to kind of do that stuff, because he's lived it as well. And so he was talking about the different where guys are going to be. Would you rather have a guy like Allen, who he is in the scouting terms we call as a glass eater, who might not have the most talent, or would you rather have Rashawn Gary from Michigan, who has all the physical ability but doesn't always play tough all the time?
Rod Marinelli wants that glass eater, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, hypothetically. That's always his type of guy.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's the argument that scouts get into all the time is, though, do you take the guy that has the athletic ability over the guy who doesn't have the athletic ability but is tough and can play a couple different positions and all that? Allen is not going to wow you with his testing numbers, but where he'll wow you is with his ability to play at the point of attack and to finish plays and stuff. Gary can play. I tell you what, I think he could be a 3 technique and play over the shoulder of that guard and be very disruptive. But at Michigan, they play him on the outside. He's a different player than the player you drafted here 2 years ago. That type of, he's got pass rush ability where I felt like Taco had to develop more of that pass rush ability.
And so basically, at defensive tackle, what you're trying to do is replace a guy who only got into 2 games last year. That would be David Irving.
Right.
I mean, that because when you look at what the Cowboys have lost and the defensive tackle rotation, they've still got Malik Collins. They've still got Antoine Woods. They've got a guy in pass situation, Tyrone Crawford, who can slide down. And they've added Christian Covington, Kerry Hyder. But what they're missing is that dynamic
disruptive guy.
Right, exactly. Which is who they didn't have last year either.
No, they did not. They did not. And I think the health a little bit, with you talk about with Malik Collins.
Yeah.
I believe, am I right, Rob? Is he one of those guys that's up in 2020?
Yep, last year of his deal.
So you got to think about now, if you do draft one of these guys, is that the replacement for? Hopefully you can get something done with Woods. I think Woods proved a lot of people that he could play in this league, and you'll probably do something with him. But I think Malik Collins, as hard as he plays and stuff, the injury history or the injury questions are always going to be there. That's kind of why I think like they're looking at defensive tackles right now to be a replacement for those guys.
Kent Garrison is here to take your phone calls, as we'll do that as we continue on. But Mickey, Rob says defensive tackle. What is the concern for you as far as what they haven't done in free agency to fill the needs?
Well, I think the decision on defensive tackle is, where's Tyrone Crawford playing? And I know he's not that dynamic 3 technique guy that you might be looking for, but he did start the first half of the season last year at defensive tackle, if you remember.
Might be your starter at left end.
Well, yeah. But with Robert Quinn now, does that move Crawford back inside?
It's possible.
Or is it a rotation?
Quinn a rotation and he's just pass rusher?
Yeah, I think we need to talk to Rod Marinelli about that. We'll probably sit down with him at one point in time and maybe get his thoughts on that. I would think that you would keep Quinn as a rotational player. You can keep him fresh and let him, in certain situations, and as much nickel as stuff as you play. We always talk about that, 65, 70% nickel. You get those, you could keep Robert Quinn. I think it'll allow Robert Quinn at Miami when he was there. He was in a rotational system. So, yeah, I think that if you want to, you want to start off playing the run, you use Crawford, and if you want to, you want to rush the pass, you put Robert Quinn in there, and there you go.
Where do you guys think Tyrone's best spot has been? Because he's kind of been like a Byron Jones type guy, this chess piece that you kind of move wherever you need him to.
That's his best spot right there.
Where?
The chess piece.
Wherever? Yeah. Because I know when he moved out to end a year or two ago, I think it probably helped him a little bit from the wear and tear standpoint of trying to play inside all the time. But
it helped his shoulder for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helped the run defense.
Yeah. Well, if you've got a guy that can play the run rare like Lawrence does, that helps. You got 2 ends that can hold the point of attack. Now you got 2 linebackers that can run and fill.
Yeah. And
then you got Woods who could be a little bit disruptive inside. So that's why you play the run pretty well if you get guys that are all pretty good at the point of attack.
So to Rob's point, okay, your defense, let's say you signed DeMarcus Lawrence and he is healthy from day one of the season. He's your left defensive end.
Yeah.
Ideally, then, where is that defensive end rotation? Who starts? Who comes in? Who gets?
We have to figure out where do you play Armstrong on the left or the right?
He was mostly left, right, behind DeMarcus last year.
Yeah,
but he's played both.
Okay,
Taco's been right.
Who do you think? Just project. Yeah, and we probably don't know, but just project if you can. Who's a better rusher between Armstrong and Taco right now?
Right now.
Because that's where that's whoever the better rusher is, he's going to play right in.
It's Armstrong.
I like Armstrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's better probably against the run too on the left side.
And Taco started at right defensive end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ahead of Randy Gregory, right?
Yeah. At times.
Until he
now maybe they
failed and they moved Crawford back outside.
Yeah.
And Randy played more down the stretch, a lot more.
See, to me, Crawford backing up Lawrence, and you don't know what's going to happen with Gregory, right?
Right.
I think you got to operate like you don't have him.
But
exactly.
I mean,
Their idea heading forward before he got suspended was he was going to be the I asked the question, can he be the every down right defensive end? And it was absolutely.
Yeah.
It was like the look I got was, why do you even ask that?
Yeah.
So
his body had matured. He probably could play more downs just based off of weight alone,
and he was
pounds.
causing teams to chip him too.
Yeah.
They were putting the running back over there. They were putting the tight end.
That's what they're doing with Robert Quinn.
So
you watch that Robert Quinn. They did the same thing. Green Bay.
So do they view Quinn as the Randy Gregory replacement and not knowing whether Gregory would get back or not?
Yeah.
So then does Quinn start?
And then Taco's the backup there?
It'd be interesting. I don't think they move on from Taco or Armstrong, but they've got they've got to think about now about the numbers they have there and who are the was it going to be 4 guys?
Yeah.
Is that you think they're going to keep 5 guys?
Well, if you count Tyrone in part of that mix potentially, yeah. All of a sudden now it's a good problem to have.
Okay, so
I think that's why they're looking at all these defensive tackles.
All of a sudden, I'm going to present the problem that is a bad problem.
You
to
got
have,
too many
which
of
is
these guys,
You don't have Lawrence.
You don't have Lawrence.
You don't have Lawrence.
Worst case.
Well, then that means that you put Taco and Crawford. Crawford would start to me at left defensive end.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of his original normal spot.
Yeah.
Set the edge.
If you don't have Lawrence by the 26th of April, how does that affect things as far as the draft?
Boy, I'm
goes?
tell you what, I'm grinding my teeth right now. I really am. You know what could change this whole thing? It could change this whole dynamic, in my opinion. And if you guys don't have to agree with me, you probably won't. If he were to get surgery now, he would put Dallas in a bad situation. If he were to get surgery right now.
How's that?
Because by getting the surgery, he's saying, okay, you cut me, I'm still going to go get money somewhere else. If you get surgery right now, instead of holding it as a chip, you're actually saying, okay, I'm with you. I'm going to get myself fixed. I'm going to be ready to play. Now you got to pay me to get ready to play. I think he could get momentum back if he gets surgery. The more I think about this, the more, instead of holding it over their head, if he were to get surgery as a show of good faith, now everybody's looking at him and going, wait a minute, he's got surgery, he's fixed. Why don't you pay him? I think the Cowboys, if the Cowboys knew that he was going to get surgery, I think the negotiations would swing in a different way. I really do, as a good faith measure. And it's I'm giving you something, you give me something.
And his rehab would be done by the time training camp started. Then
exactly,
that's why the countdown's on, because if you get past the draft and it's like start a camp, doesn't look like it.
If I was his agent, I would have the surgery. I would go ahead, because what he has to be ready about is, because if it doesn't work out for the Cowboys, he has to be ready to play. Mm-hmm. He has to be ready. So if the Cowboys yank the tag on him, well, then his ability to go get money, or at least to get a 1-year deal, has to be on his ability to play. So if he's not ready to play when the season starts, then that will limit maybe the options that he has.
Or he could play without having the surgery, but then again, what are the Cowboys paying for? They're paying for a guy that's not at his optimum, probably from a pass
another
rush
team
standpoint.
wouldn't be either.
Or he could turn his back on $20.5 million.
There is always that.
Do you think he would do that?
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but I'm not him. He wants long-term security.
Yeah,
man.
I know he does. I'd call him out on that one.
You'd call him out on that one?
I'd take my chances that he's not turning down $20 million guaranteed.
So you're just waiting.
What about the surgery then, Mickey? What are you going to do with that?
Is that what you're saying? You're waiting it out?
Yeah.
All right, you're going to wait it out. Okay.
You're waiting it out, but he doesn't get the surgery done.
Yeah. How you feeling about that?
You get past June 1st now, and he hadn't got the surgery done.
Yeah. What if we get to July 14th and we haven't had the surgery done?
So you're just going to let him go?
We have no choice.
No, I'm asking you.
July 15th, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want him?
He's still worth $20.5 million
for 10 games?
Yeah, for 10 games.
Or if he just straps it up, and plays it with the harness again.
He won't do that.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think he would.
We continue and take your phone calls on Talking Cowboys in a moment.
Kaboo Texas is 3 days, 6 stages, over 100 artists, including The Killers, Lionel Richie, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Ms. Lauryn Hill, Kid Rock, Alanis Morissette, Little Big Town, the Avett Brothers, Counting Crows, Pitbull, Sting, the Black Eyed Peas, and the list goes on. Don't miss Kaboo Texas. Single day and 3-day passes are on sale now. Visit KAABOOTexas.com to get your passes today.
Essilor has been helping Cowboys fans see better since 1972 so they don't miss a moment on the field. Get glasses with Essilor's best vision, clarity, and protection with the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package. 3 innovative technologies in one lens. For a limited time, you can double your lenses for free when you purchase the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package and get a second pair of frames. Find a participating eye care professional and details by visiting EssilorUSA.com. That's EssilorUSA.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine being shipwrecked on a desert island, alone. Glass-like curls of surf pound the shore with Dr. Pepper-colored waves. Surrounded by desire, but you can't drink it because it's the ocean. Fish live in there. The only thing you want is Dr. Pepper, and you can't have it.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Tommy John time. It's the offseason, and you know what that means. It's time to make some trades. Not just the Robert Quinn deal. It's time you traded your old, worn-out tighty-whities for the latest and greatest in men's underwear. That's Tommy John. Trust us, all Tommy John underwear features a contour pouch for mind-blowing comfort. Plus, shop exclusive Cowboys underwear at TommyJohn.com/Cowboys and get 20% off your first order.
And join us for the official 2019 NFL Draft Parties presented by Miller Lite at the Star in Frisco on Thursday, April 25th, Friday, April 26th, and Saturday, the 27th. Fans have the opportunity to see current Dallas Cowboys players, members of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Dallas Cowboys Rhythm and Blue, and Dallas Cowboys mascot Rowdy, while also enjoying live music, games, and activities and more. Admission and parking free. Visit DallasCowboys.com/draft day for details. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Chris in Connecticut. First up here on Talking Cowboys. Hello, Chris.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
Howdy.
First, I want to say thank you so much for all you do. All us diehard Cowboy fans are always scrambling and desperate for things to hang on to and looking forward to the season, etc. So thanks so much for you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Uh-oh.
Oh, was that it?
That was nice of him.
But
There we go.
I've been
There
a
we
fan
go.
since '67, and I want to say how happy I am. Finally, eureka moment that the Cowboys actually used a low round draft pick to pick up a free agent. I was just blown away that they found it's been scratching my head for the last 10 years why they don't seem to ever take advantage of that, but. That's one thing. I'm really happy to hear that and see that they're kind of opening their eyes, hopefully. And then secondly, I was wondering if you guys could explain to me a little bit why I always feel like the Cowboys are very reluctant or resistant to getting a really high quality big defensive tackle in there to shore up the middle, because I feel like they really seem to have a lot of difficulty defending quarterbacks that are mobile. And I just feel like I don't know what it is. I keep hearing about they have a low priority on defensive tackle, the one
That's
technique,
true.
three technique, and I just don't get it. So maybe you guys could.
No, that's true. They don't want to use, especially on a one technique. I mean, Rod Marinelli. I mean, now he'll tell you that the under tackle or the three and the right defensive end are very important in his scheme, but he wants nothing to do with he feels like he can find a guy, and like an Antoine Woods. I mean, he feels like there are guys out there that he could find, he could coach. That's why we were on the draft show last year. We kept talking about Vita Vea, and then at the end of the day, they wanted nothing to do with Vita Vea, the defensive tackle from the University of Washington. And Rod Marinelli, I even asked him about that. He's like, no, he goes, I'm hunting some defensive tackles, but they're not going to be all these guys that they're not going to be these defensive tackles that we've all talked about on the draft show. I mean, again, they don't have a first round pick, but Quinnen Williams, Simmons, Wilkins, Lawrence, all those guys. I mean, no, he's going to find him a guy in the third round, that he likes. He's probably going to look, like I say, he's probably going to look more for an under tackle or a three than he is a nose, because he's got he's got Covington now, and he's got the Woods. So if it's going to be a defensive tackle, it's going to be a three, in my opinion.
Randy White, I do a show during the football season for CBS 11, a game day, Cowboys game day show with Randy White, and every season Randy says they need to get one of those big bazooka nose tackles in there.
They won't do it.
That's right.
It's funny because he played with Booger McFarland at Tampa, who was a first round pick. And from then on, he's never been able to do that. I'm trying to remember at the Bears and the Lions and places like that, but still,
as far as one techniques,
he just
big sloppy nose.
He will not do it.
Yeah.
It just
Stephen Paya was with Chicago,
right? And Stephen Paya was here until
Henry Melton.
Yeah, but they just will not. It's something fundamentally to him that he believes he doesn't have to do. Give him the under tackle all day. Give him the right defensive end, and he's okay with that.
So as fans look at the draft, what is the prototype of what Marinelli is looking for in that defensive tackle? If you could, from a scouting standpoint, as far
the
as
one or the three,
the three,
well,
either the one or the three. What is he looking for as far as height, weight?
You got something on that, Mickey? You want to say?
I mean, he's looking for somebody that's quick, that can get up the field. Even at the one technique,
right?
While it's a bigger guy, he wants a guy agile enough to be on the move.
So from a scouting,
but didn't he have Sue at?
He was
at Detroit.
I'm trying to think of it. See, but Sue,
but he's not the big sloppy 360-pound.
Well,
nose.
he ain't sloppy, but
no.
he's big.
Well, I mean, he had Warren Sapp and at Tampa Bay.
But that's your three.
That's his three. That's his three. Booger McFarland was his one, and then he had Simeon Rice playing one end. I mean, if you look at what he's doing now in this draft, you look at the names might start leaking out on who they're going to visit, but you look at the Kingsley Kiki from Texas A&M. Guys like we're talking about, guys that can play can play tackle, can get up the field, get on the outside shoulder, attack. Tristan Hill from Central Florida is another guy that's like that. Gerald Willis from Miami, another guy that gets on the shoulder and gets up the field.
Zach Allen.
These are guys that's what he wants. He wants guys that can play the run, but also are interested in getting up the field. Kent's got it up there right now. He's got the Hill kid. See, I mean, if you're watching along with us right there, There's a guy, again, he's got some size to him, but he's got the quickness, the agility. Those are the kinds of things he's looking at for his defensive tackle.
You could almost say that the 1 and 3 in this scheme are somewhat interchangeable because you've seen Malik Collins play both. He's alternated between 3 and 1. Like you said, has some size, can hold up against the run, but you got to be disruptive and be able to push the pocket. Both those guys.
I just think he's looking for more. I think that they're trying to find a way to upgrade the 3. And I mean upgrade it in a way that with Collins potentially being gone after next year, with kind of his injury history with the foot, he's been having to deal with that quite a bit. I think they're looking for a guy to take over that role of a 3 technique. Now, whether Crawford gets inside again and does that, it might. If they don't get the guy, maybe that's the avenue that they go. But I kind of feel like that they're hunting that guy. They're hunting that under tackle guy.
But see, the weird thing of what the guy said about needing one of those guys in there to play the run, they finished 5th against the run last year.
They did.
Until the loss to the Rams, right?
They had 2 games where
Two bad games.
Colts and Rams.
Colts and Rams.
450 combined rushing yards.
Other than that, and they still finished 5th.
Right.
And they only gave up 3.8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Until that game and the Colts game.
But I think
linebacker play was really good there too.
So was it like poor personnel, or all of a sudden did they kind of get out schemed
they got
on
their ass
whatever
kicked.
they were doing?
The both games, it looked pretty simplistic to me. The Colts game, I didn't see them running a lot of intricate plays.
Got washed out of plays.
They're both offensive lines, the Rams line, the Colts line, did a great job.
I just thought they took advantage of the Cowboys being aggressive up front.
Yeah. Well, they
beat them going the other way.
They totally hammered them up front, and I think that the Cowboys have done a nice job of playing the run, like you said, Mickey. So, yeah, I would keep an eye. Again, these names will start popping out here, and I promise you there will be more of those under tackles or 3 techniques visiting here than the 1 technique guys. I just that's just the way it's going to be.
And to your point, with that current cast, they did a great job overall. But to Bill's point, think about what they could have had with Irving. And I know that ship has sailed, but I'm just saying if you could add another guy, I mean, Covington and Hyder can be part of this rotation.
Right.
But another disruptive guy in that rotation, take some pressure off Antoine Woods.
That's what Hyder can do. You're right.
I mean, and how many of those guys are out there?
I'm saying
which ones?
Well, Irving, you want to replace him, but he was a freak.
Yeah, David Irving, there are people still debate whether his best position was tackle or defensive end. There are people that debate. I mean, he had just as much production in that Tampa game, if you remember, a couple years ago, rushing as a left defensive end.
I'm not saying you're going to find David Irving's talent level necessarily, but another guy that you can throw into the mix with with one of these first couple draft picks. I mean, I think that can only help this group going forward.
Yep.
One guy that I'm intrigued by, and I'd like to get, Brian, your thoughts on Charles Omenihu from Texas.
Not much like there.
Not really.
Not overall.
You didn't have him ranked very high.
The reason I am intrigued by him is his long arms.
No, and there's a lot of long-armed players in this draft. I mean, especially when you get to the cornerbacks and stuff like that. I mean, they got a lot of guys. Yeah, they've never in talking to some folks about Omenihu, never really warmed up to him as a player. They just never. They felt, and the things that the biggest problem with when you watch him play, and I thought the Senior Bowl was probably some of his best work. But you watch him play, you watch the Oklahoma game, stuff like that. I mean, he gets washed a lot. You know, here's a 280-pound guy, and you're thinking, okay, be a little bit better at the point of attack. Not so much. I mean, he is one of those guys when guys get on him, you see them take him out of the play, and I think that's really where the Cowboys scouts kind of talking to them pre-Senior Bowl about him, and then Senior Bowl he kind of did some better things, and still the attitude was, nah, just go watch the game film, and the game film doesn't lie about him. Again, you watch the Oklahoma games, and he has some issues there with, and those Oklahoma linemen are all going to get drafted.
Yeah,
all those guys are going to get drafted. So you're playing against pro linemen there, and you're having problems with them. That's just a little bit of a precursor to what potentially could happen to you.
And I don't know what position he is best suited for.
Well, he's played all over, but I mean, I think the way he plays, to me, here I'm saying, about him as a rusher and all that. I mean, the stuff that I saw with him was the left defensive end. I mean, the thing when I'm looking at about with him at Texas is they played him in a head-up scheme, and it really didn't do him any favors. When he was head up trying to like play with power, that's when that's when the issues were. I talk about disengaging with guys. You'd think his physical ability would allow him to get off more blocks, but it just doesn't show. He could get moved by tight ends, too, is another thing that bothers me. If you're a defensive end and you're getting blocked by tight ends, that's a really bad sign. That is a very bad sign.
Okay, the little news nugget that I think Tom Pelissero had first today about Randy Gregory being extended. What do we make of this? Extended next year? They're standing by their man.
Well, he would have been restricted next year, I think.
It says
there's a lot of.
I've lost track.
It said restricted next year
because his contract got told. Told.
That was
told.
the word I've been looking for like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, told.
So he restricted. So basically, what you did,
it's a minimum salary for next year.
Yeah, and you gave him a loan for this year.
That's
He might have needed some money.
Well, that's might have needed some money. How many times did the poor guy get fined last year? Mm-hmm. Every time you turned around, the poor guy was getting a fine for something.
That's exactly what I was getting.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, those game checks when they turn into fines, there's not anything left. It's like taking taxes from the guy. So all of a sudden, and I think that this is. Again, this is Jerry Jones's way of making sure that he's trying to take care of a player, and everybody out there can beat everybody up about this deal or not, but this is another human taking care of another human is what this is until the problems get corrected.
Because think about it, he was on the books for a base salary this year. I think it was $955,000.
Yeah,
$955,000. And if he doesn't get to play, he doesn't make that money.
Right.
So they've almost done him a favor.
They have done him a favor.
And the $315,000 that they gave him as a signing bonus now splits over 2 years.
Right.
And so you save yourself about $160,000 against the cap.
You would hope that
and you retain his rights.
Yeah, you would hope that things get better for Randy Gregory. But again, he faced so many fines and things like that happened to him last year that he couldn't. It took all his money, and so now, and I'm not saying how do you not live on $900,000, but just keep taking it away from you and see how you're doing. But this was the Cowboys' way of saying, "Hey, listen, we understand your issues." And if you're a fan out there and you're busting on the team for trying to help Randy Gregory, shame on you for that. Everybody wishes they had somebody like Jerry Jones in their corner that was trying to help him along.
It gives him incentive. It gives him hope that he may be.
You're not totally kicking him to the curb. You're giving him a chance.
Right.
Well, Terrence Williams. Put Terrence Williams on injured reserve. They could have cut Terrence Williams, but Terrence Williams continued to get paid.
Big difference in the way they would talk about David Irving this past offseason than they would Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Like you said, standing by him. No question about it.
And then Robert Quinn was here yesterday.
Yes.
Made the rounds.
Yeah. I was not here.
Signed his deal.
Yeah, signed his deal. He knows about the Hot Boys.
I guess that trade actually happened since the last time we convened, wouldn't
it?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So we've talked it over quite a bit and where that stands. But I think from a salary cap standpoint, that's it's a great, it's a very good deal as far as where the Cowboys are with Randy Gregory and with getting a veteran guy in here. He's got some skins on the wall and can still play at age 29.
It protects you if something happens again with the defensive end spot, especially at the left defensive end spot.
Right.
If you cannot get the left defensive end done, it becomes a total impasse. Yeah, am I saying we had a big discussion about this? Derek Eagleton, myself, Nick Eatman, David Hellman. Are you saying he's better than Lawrence? No, but are you saying at least it's an option if something happens where all of a sudden it's like, okay, we've got to move on. Now it gives you an opportunity to say, okay, we at least have a legitimate pass rusher. Okay, Taco and Armstrong and everybody else, it's time to step up and play a little bit better. That's where I think this thing is. If you can't get Lawrence Dunn, if you could get Lawrence Dunn and have him and Quinn together rushing the passer, it would be one of the best situations you can imagine. And no telling what's going to happen with Randy, but I think, like you said, Rob, earlier, that hey, you got to have to think about Randy not being here.
Yeah,
so,
you
again,
do.
If Gregory's not here, then he's not a rotation guy. He's playing every down at right.
Depending on what they do with Crawford.
Well, Crawford goes left.
Yeah,
if Lawrence
isn't there. You said Gregory.
If Lawrence,
but I'm saying, and if Gregory isn't there, he's the full-time
defensive
end.
No question.
And all you gave up was a 2020 6th-round pick.
Basically, what you're looking at then, the makeup, if Lawrence isn't here, the makeup is you got Quinn and Taco on one side, you got Crawford and Armstrong on the other side.
Right.
That's the makeup of the roster right now.
Yep.
Without any additions.
Yeah, and then hopefully you can add some defensive tackles. You've helped yourself, with Covington, Collins, Woods, and then maybe another 3 technique.
And Hyder.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah.
And he can rush from outside too.
Yep.
So, okay, we continue with more Talking Cowboys in just a moment.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
It's time for tailgating with the OtterBox boys.
The OtterBox that builds those crazy protective phone cases?
Yup. And now they're changing the side dish game with the OtterBox Trooper Soft Cooler. Lightweight, mobile, and leak-proof, Trooper is perfect for blitzing a crowded parking lot with a Frito pie.
Amazing. Hey, you think I could fit my 7-layer salmon salad into the Trooper cooler?
Yup, but please don't.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Learn more about the Trooper soft coolers at otterbox.com.
While a player could look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It can be hard to find the right resource for learning about important financial matters. You search how to build savings, you end up reading about the one weird ingredient from supermarkets that can make you taller. That's why Bank of America built BetterMoneyHabits.com, a safe little corner of the internet for answering your financial questions. Full of simple videos and tips, Better Money Habits can show you how to make the most of your money without resorting to random searches that always seem to lead to unbelievable photos of childhood stars grown up. To learn more, visit BetterMoneyHabits.com.
Essilor has been helping Cowboys fans see better since 1972 so they don't miss a moment on the field. Get glasses with Essilor's best vision, clarity, and protection with the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package. 3 innovative technologies in one lens. For a limited time, you can double your lenses for free when you purchase the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package and get a second pair of frames. Find a participating eye care professional and details by visiting EssilorUSA.com. That's EssilorUSA.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
So Jack Black's getting real worried about your sun care. And they've come out with Sun Savers.
How real?
Is that your sun care or your skin care?
Your sun care.
Okay.
Yeah, sun care.
For your skin.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's for the sun lovers. So you go to jackblack.com from head to toe. JB.
Yeah, not a deer.
Not a deer. Has everything
But buy
you
a deer.
need to protect and nourish your sun-loving care, and also for your tattooed skin. They also have lotion to take care of that.
Yeah, a big Italian flag on your back.
Guess what? You would get one free Sun Saver with your $65 portion. And you get both with an $85 purchase. So you can choose from Double Duty Face Moisturizer, Intense Therapy Lip Balm. Go to getjackblack.com and use the code SUN1 for one, and you can get 2 for SUN2. So go to getjackblack.com.
No, don't ask him to read it again. What are you doing?
I just didn't catch the code again. What was the code?
SUN1.
SUN1.
Okay. Or SUN2.
Okay.
Why did I just feel like we were playing bumper cars? Mickey, is that a real read, or were you just kind of?
No, it's a
no.
They send out their little
I'm about to
weekly
say,
updates.
So we need to
and
buy
I
some
turn
Jack.
them into a read.
Oh, okay, I see. So we need some Jack Black. Buy some so we can get a professional reader. Is what we.
And you can get. You also can get new Ink Boost tattoo care kit.
All right.
See, I have never
about
heard
that?
that. Hey, good. That's important. Even though I don't have a tattoo.
It says nothing. It's nourishing essentials to keep tattoos of all ages vibrant.
I know where Kid's going here.
Yeah.
We got
Kid's
8 minutes to go. Here we go.
And
yeah,
I saw somebody the other day that needed that skincare for the tattoos.
Who was that?
Oh, I don't know. It was some lady working out that was 75 years old.
Okay, here we go.
It was
Here we go. It's our last show.
It was an indictment against tattoos. When
One
you
more
get
time
older.
on that drop there, Kit.
Cowboys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The warning that I always gave my daughters about getting tattoos, like a butterfly tattoo, like on your hip or something like that, is over a number of years, that butterfly turns into a condor.
That is true. That is true.
That's an SNL skit. Yep. That's a pretty good one.
So, what's up with the Alliance of American Football?
Sound like they're suspending operations. So
Not closing shop, just suspending.
Well, suspension will lead to close, is what it sounds like. So yeah, they're
Can't even finish the season.
yeah, they don't think so.
They only had two games.
Pro
one
football
game
talk.
left.
They're in week 8, yeah, and it sounded like that Vince McMahon has had something to do with this. Who owns the XFL?
Yeah.
He sold more than 3 million shares of his WWE stock yesterday with the goal to come up proceeds to fund his upcoming football league, which turned out to be about $272 million is what he sold off stock yesterday. So.
That's because he has to pay Bob Stoops.
Yeah.
To coach the Dallas franchise.
Exactly.
XFL will be fine.
Think the XFL will be fine?
Well, financially they will. I don't know if anyone will.
Because he's got
watch
deep
it.
pockets, Ken.
Well, yeah, the WWE makes like $1 billion a year, so.
Now, I don't know how much money the guy from Dallas has that funded the league.
Tom Dundon.
But he
just
invested $250 million.
Did he just lose that? Is that what happened there?
Well,
my gosh.
Well,
Okay.
see, what he's been trying to do is leverage the NFLPA to force the NFL to allow them to sign practice squad players in the off. But there's no practice squad players in the off season. Those guys are free agents, and once they sign, are you going to let them go play in a spring league and then say, okay, now July 20th, you're going to training camp?
most of the practice squad players that the NFL teams want, they go ahead and sign them to future contracts at the end of the season, and so they then aren't available for the spring league.
I'll tell you what, when we were doing NFL Europe, when we were first starting NFL Europe, at least this league gives these players enough time to recover. We didn't give the players at all any time. I remember Dwayne Hawthorne that he was a guy who went to NFL Europe, played a whole season. Then he went from being he came back, he was just so beat up.
Yeah.
He couldn't run. I mean, the one thing he had was quickness, and he had none of that. He was dead.
Well, the one
they
thing
would play that whole season and get like a month between the end.
Exactly.
The biggest problem with NFL Europe, as far as the NFL calendar is concerned, is it went, as you're saying, it went into May to the end of May, and so now you're missing OTAs and so forth, and so you could not be incorporated into.
I love the fact that we were involved to try and work with the NFL and that stuff when we were in NFL Europe, but. We didn't give those players enough time. Those poor kids, they had to go straight from our league to a training camp. You know, I mean, they were beat.
without being involved in the off-season program.
Right.
And that's why the AAF had set up their schedule perfectly to where it was over by the draft.
Right.
And then
now
if
it's
an
be over
NFL
permanently.
But if an NFL team wanted to sign one of those players, they could and put them right into their off-season program, and they don't miss a beat.
If the NFL wanted a true minor league system, though, they could. I guess hypothetically you could absorb this league and make it part of yours. Now they were televising games on NFL Network, but it's not an official partnership. Yeah. But I don't know if the NFL really wants to go down that road of having a minor league system.
The problem is
they got college football.
They've put these teams in places where there's still major NFL teams, right?
Like Birmingham,
San Antonio.
San Antonio's got Memphis. Houston and Dallas this close.
San Diego has a team. Memphis has a team. There's one in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
But see, they don't. Utah. They don't portray it like baseball does minor league baseball. It's just minor league.
Yeah.
With these guys growing to get up, these guys playing there's no one growing.
These guys that are past
These
their
are
prime.
guys that either passed their primes or couldn't make it.
Yeah,
and it's hard to sell a minor league football team.
But you're right as far as they were trying to get the Players Association to sign off on it.
Sure.
And the only way a league like this would work would be like the old NFL Europe,
right,
where you've got an affiliation with the NFL. And I think the way they need to do it, if you got a team in San Antonio, put them in a Cowboy uniform. I can't.
There's
watch,
no affiliation.
Right,
yeah, that's good.
I can't watch these teams with these uniforms that I have no clue what team is which.
Well, what we used to do,
I want to see, like in baseball, you'll have the St. Louis Cardinals, the long time, the Louisville Redbirds with their AAA affiliate or whatever, and they wear Cardinal uniforms, whatever. But like if a spring league, put them, have affiliations with NFL teams and have them, look like the Steelers.
I mean, why
like
don't people go to games in Frisco, baseball games? Because those are young Ranger players that you think you're developing to get to the major leagues.
So I saw Alex Rodriguez when I was working with the Green Bay Packers. I saw him play in Wisconsin for like 10 minutes. He played, but I got to see him, play. That's why people went to Appleton Fox's games, was to see Alex Rodriguez play.
When I was in Jackson, that was Darryl Strawberry's rookie year in the minors.
But that's a good point, Mick, because we've gotten a lot of questions about, hey, are there any AFF players to keep an eye on, as a feeder system? And I don't know if it really is with this current group they've got playing.
And if you watch it, it's...
I haven't watched a lot of it, to be honest, but you don't see a lot of...
Well, the hard part is, at least with baseball, you can see individual guys if they're progressing. In football, like if you don't have offensive linemen, I'm sorry, the quarterback's toast.
Something though from this league that we might get is the way they handle replay. That might, if you remember, they had, and I know you say they didn't watch, Mickey, you probably watched more games than anybody, but you had the ability for the communication between the booth and the official down, and you kind of heard the discussion that was going on between the two.
More transparency.
Yeah. You're right, Kent. So maybe that's something that we'll get. There's always something that these leagues give us, and maybe it's like that wasn't a bad idea about us being able to hear the official tell the replay official tell the official on the field exactly what the call should be.
I like that they eliminated extra points too. It's only 2-point conversions in the AAF.
Yeah.
You can still kick a field goal, but after a touchdown, you have to go for 2.
It's like arena ball. Kind of. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that they were experimenting with is letting the official in the box have direct communication, like you said, to fix something. And truth be known, that's what Jason Garrett was angling towards at the owners' meetings.
Right.
It wasn't what they ended up. He was wanting to basically go that route.
Sure.
You're going to the Masters.
I am. Leave Saturday I'm going to go for a Tuesday practice round. So you guys, I will be listening. I won't be listening on the course.
You're going to practice?
No, I'm going to a practice round of the Masters.
Oh, okay.
Which is the time to go.
Yes.
If you go to the Masters, you
so
want
yeah,
to go
I
early
leave
in
for
the
Atlanta. Atlanta on Saturday. Going to hang out with some buddies, and then go to the Masters on Tuesday. I'll be back with you guys Wednesday. How about that?
Second shot for Brian Broaddus.
Yes.
Looks like he's using a.
That's what I thought.
7-iron.
He needed to call in and have
Didn't
his
know that
golf
Titleist
voice.
made a shovel.
With his pimento cheese sandwich.
Oh
in
my
his
gosh, they're
hand.
so good, Mickey, and they're $2.
So you've been there before?
I did. Went last year.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I love that place.
That was the.
And I'm not a golfer.
That was the first
Obviously,
professional
you're
golf
not a
tournament I
golfer.
ever
Thank you,
covered.
Coach.
Was the Masters.
Ryan says you can eat off that grass.
You can. It's oh my god, it is amazing. That place, when you walk through the gates, you're like, there's nothing out of place.
Wow.
Except me.
And on that note, that's a great way to end Talking Cowboys. But you will have the draft show on Thursday at 11.
We will be here.
Okay.
We'll dig into this a little deeper. We get closer. Getting closer.
Here we are. And we will talk at you again next week here on Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!